The Mandela effect is an odd phenomenon where multiple people, sometimes hundreds of people, remember something that never actually happened. Keep in mind, every Mandela effect may not actually affect you. Mandela effects affect people in different ways. It may greatly affect you to the point that it makes you question a large part of your childhood or your life, or it may barely affect you at all. So join me today as we discuss a Mandela effect.
Now let's get it started with the man you all know. Here's another Anthony James video.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Anthony James, and I'm very excited to bring you another Mandela effect video. This time based on one of my favorite subjects ever, Marvel. That's right, this whole Mandela effect video is going to be based around Marvel Mandela effects. Now I'm not going to cover all of them because I did actually find probably enough to do a second video, I believe. I just want to research more. But this is the ones I've researched and looked into so far. And honestly, it's some pretty mind-blowing stuff, in my opinion. Okay, we're going to start with the first one, which this Mandela effect did affect me. I'm talking about the Marvel logo, the Marvel Studios logo more specifically. I'm not really necessarily talking about the necessarily like the comic because that's changed, but I'm really talking about the Marvel Studios or the logo they've used for movies and television and so on. Basically, okay, if you look back even like to Iron Man 2008 and stuff, which I know it's kind of hard to see, but if you even look back at those posters and stuff, how do you picture the Marvel logo? I mean, even today, because it's pretty much the same. Do you picture all the letters connecting? Or do you picture all the letters being separate, like how you would write it? I picture them all being separate, but actually they're all connected except for the L at the end, which is pretty wild, in my opinion. I mean, I've watched all the Marvel movies and television shows a lot of times, more than once. A lot of times it was nothing for me to go to the theater multiple times, like up to 10 times in some of these movies, especially the Avengers movies. So for me to have never noticed this is pretty wild, in my opinion. It's not like blowing my mind like some of the Mandela effects blow my mind like some of the movie lines, but this one's such a small thing that changed is pretty wild. And I mean, you can look back and Google older posters and so on for Marvel, and yeah, they're all it's all the connected letters. So yeah, go ahead. I mean, go back, look back, and I mean, once you see it, you can't really unsee it. So from now on, when you watch that Marvel opening or anything, or look at the posters, you're going to see those letters connected, and you're going to wonder, was it always like that? Or is this a Mandela effect? Hey guys, okay, now here's another Mandela effect for you. This one's pretty well known, and honestly it doesn't affect me at all. In fact, it does the opposite, because I've actually always noticed this. But Spider-Man, how do you write Spider-Man? Do you write it Spider space man, Spider-Man as all one word, or Spider-Man? How do you write it? It's actually Spider-Man. That's the official, that's officially how Marvel writes it. If you look at the comic book covers, movies, and so on and so forth, that's the way it's always supposed to be. Now you can probably find a ton of examples of it not written like that, even from official products. But it's officially supposed to be Spider-Man, which for me, this one doesn't affect me at all, but I really try to keep an open mind with a lot of this stuff, and if it's affecting enough people, then yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that it's possibly a Mandela effect, especially considering the amount of people that it definitely affects. because when researching this, I found a shocking amount of people that were saying, no, it hasn't always been like this, and they were bringing up examples and so on and so forth and how they remember things. Now, for me, it's odd because it's the opposite. I've always been a huge Spider-Man fan and had several comic books. Even back in the day, my father would buy me very old Spider-Man comic books just because I was really into Spider-Man. And so I always remember the Dash being there. Now, for some people, that's just not the case. They just don't remember the Dash always being there, and that's fine. But what do you remember? Do you remember the Dash always being there? I mean, I even remember there was some stuff, Stan Lee, which I'll try to remember to put this in the video also, but some stuff with Stan Lee where I believe he even talks about it. There's been some interviews, but I believe there's even a thing on Twitter where he kind of talked about it too, from the official Twitter, which, yeah, that may not be him, but whatever. It's the official Twitter for Stan Lee, where it's talked about in the Dash. And I remember actually even seeing an interview. I can't remember. I try to find the interview. I don't know if I can, because I honestly have no idea. And there's probably thousands of interviews with Stan Lee, so that's probably going to be a pretty difficult task to find that exact same interview. If anybody can help me, that'd be great. But it's where he talks about how he didn't want it to be confused with Superman and so on. And that makes sense to me. I mean, yeah, Stan Lee wasn't the most. There's been some inconsistencies with Marvel stuff, especially way back in the day. I think Spider-Man or Peter Parker, I believe he accidentally called him something else in like the first or second issue. It wasn't he didn't even call him Peter in that issue for whatever reason. I mean, there's been instances of that, but I mean, Spider-Man, the logo. This wouldn't be just a writer or one-time type of comic run or so on and so forth. This is something that's been in movies, television shows, and so on. But for me, the Spider-Man with the Dash looks right. Let me know what you think. I mean, this one is very popular, and a lot of people, it definitely affects a lot. So, but let me know. I'm very curious to see how many people are actually affected by this particular Mandela effect. Okay. Here's another one that actually did affect me quite a bit. Now, the newspaper company that J. Jonah Jameson works for and Spider-Man takes pictures, or Peter Parker takes pictures of Spider-Man, which is just himself. But yeah, you get it. What's that paper called? What is it called? Is it the Daily Bugle, or is it just Daily Bugle? Which one is it? Now, see, for me, it's always been the Daily Bugle. That makes sense. The Daily Bugle. It's just like that's the name of the newspaper, and that's kind of what, in my mind, that's what you would think it'd be called. And so, I mean, that's just kind of what it's always been called for me, right? Well, the problem with that is it's actually called just Daily Bugle, which is crazy, right? I mean, isn't that weird? That's weird. Daily Bugle, just Daily Bugle, huh? That's very doesn't sound right. It should be the Daily Bugle, in my opinion. I don't know. It's just kind of odd. A very odd Mandela effect, in my opinion. Very, very odd. What do you think? Is it Daily Bugle or the Daily Bugle? Which one is it for you? This one actually does affect me. Probably out of everything on the list, this one probably affects me the most and probably surprised me the most. If somebody would ask me and $1 million were on the line and they'd be like, the newspaper that Spider-Man works for, and it'd have been the Daily Bugle or Daily Bugle, I would have said the Daily Bugle. So this one messes with me. This one is a bit mind blowing in my way. I don't know. It's pretty crazy. The thing with the Mandela effect is, I mean, it definitely will mess with you quite a bit. I don't know. It's very weird. But anyway, the whole thing with if you want to learn more about the Mandela effect, I've done some other videos on it. So feel free to check them out. I got a playlist going. I got a few, but I definitely have a lot more planned. A ton more planned. I may not do as many themed episodes because it's kind of delaying me on doing some that I really want to, some Mandela effects I really want to talk about by trying to work them into some kind of theme. But I feel like I've got enough probably to do some more superhero ones, that's for sure. I mean, just some of the stuff I found on DC when I was looking for Marvel is a lot. And I also want to thank Sandy from I believe it's called, let's see, it's called the Reality Residue Hunter. It's a Facebook group, great Facebook group, actually helped me quite a bit. Really turned me on to several of these Mandela effects, or several Mandela effects. Not just these, but several others actually that I actually hadn't seen anywhere else. So I just want to thank them. So check them out. Check out my other Mandela effect videos or other Marvel videos if you like Marvel. But anyway, guys, thank you so much, and as always, don't forget to
subscribe.
Hey, whoa, where are you going? Why don't you subscribe or maybe watch another video? Come on, you know you want to. What better things do you have to do?